Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Today I am showing you what's changed in Cricut Design Space on the Great Maker Show and Tell. So a few days ago, Cricut released an updated version of their free design software, Cricut Design Space. This is the software that we use to tell our cutting machines exactly what we want it to do, and it's really important that we have a good grasp of how it works. Now, I've already updated my Cricut Coach Playbook, which is a collection of one-page reference sheets for Design Space with all the new changes, and I added a few new pages about it as well. But I can't change any of my old videos. So let's go over what's changed here, and then I will show you those changes and how they apply to some of my older but popular projects, like my pop-up butterfly card, my maker mat, and my giant paper rose. So let's head on over to Cricut Design Space and take a look. Now, the biggest Cricut Design Space change is that some settings moved from the Layers panel on the left, over here on the left, to the new Line Type menu at the top. So up here is the Line Type menu. If you simply remember that the functions have moved and have not disappeared or even changed substantially, I think this will help a lot. Really, the Layers panel has kept most of the things you had before. So over here we have Group, Ungroup, Duplicate, and Delete, and those are all the same as they always have been. And at the bottom we have Slice, Weld, Attach, Flatten, and Contour. It's the layer lines themselves that have changed a bit. So the layer lines are these lines here inside the Layers panel. Now, in the previous version of Cricut Design Space, the Layers panel looked like this. You could see the layer name, type, indicated by an icon. You could see the color and the fill, also with an icon. And you could show and hide the layer with the eye icon. Now the Layers panel is more simplified with the updated version of Cricut Design Space. It shows us the layer name, the type, indicated by a word instead of an icon, right? So here we have cut, score, cut and print, and draw. And the same eye icon is still there to show and hide the layer. So I can still show and hide things with this eye icon just like before. So the big question most people have is, where do I change the type now? How do I set a color and a fill? How do I set score lines? And how do I indicate that I want to print something? Never fear, the new Line Type menu right up here is here to help. All of these functions have moved from the Layers panel to the Line Type menu. So all you need to do is remember to look for them here in this Line Type menu instead. Now let's go through each major function one at a time. First, how to change a line type. Before the Cricut Design Space update, we changed type by clicking the type icon in the Layers panel. Now we change type by clicking the appropriate line in the Layers panel. So I've just selected the pink heart. And then we go up to the Line Type menu and we click on the menu to change the type. So we can change it to draw, or we can change it to score, and we can change it back to cut. Now, how do you change the material colors with the Line Type menu? Before the update, we changed colors by clicking the color icon in the Layers panel. Now we change colors by selecting the line we want to change in the Layers panel, and then we click the color box under Line Type and choose a new color. So I click pink, and now it's changed to pink. If you don't see the color you want, you can click Advanced to choose a color from the color picker. So I can choose to make it a darker red. See? Once the color is chosen, the color box changes to reflect the color that you picked. So this now is a dark red. And the image representation of the line over in the Layers panel also takes on that same color. So now the heart over here is red as well. And of course the element on your canvas changes color as well. So the big heart that's actually on your canvas that you can see is red. So that's how you change the material color. Now, how do you print then cut with the Line Type menu? Before the update, we changed a line to print by clicking the type icon in the Layers panel. Now we change a line to print by selecting the line that we want to change in the Layers panel. Make sure the Line Type menu is set to cut, which it is, and then click the Fill menu under Line Type and choose Print. There we go. You can also set a color by clicking the color box to the right of the Fill menu. So I can change this to be lavender, and it will print as lavender. The Print Type menu that appears lets you choose color to pick a solid color, or a pattern if you would like to pick a pattern. So we would just choose Pattern from the Print Type drop-down menu, and we can set it to be red lines if we'd like, just like that. And there's actually a lot of different patterns in here. There we go. Cute. And you'll see over here that your type has changed to cut and print because it's going to do both. It's going to print then cut, right? Now, note that some images are designated as original artwork. For example, this floral design is original artwork, and those are the ones that have many colors. You can still change the color and fill of these images by going up to the Line Type menu, and you click on the Print Type box, and you can change it to a color. So we can have it be a pink floral-ish shape, or we can change it to pattern, just like we did with the heart, and pick something like this one, and it will fill that pattern into the shape. And of course, if you decide that you don't like any of those things, you just go back up to the Print Type menu and choose Original Artwork and click Restore, and it goes back to what it was before. So you can always experiment with that. Now let's talk about how to change the pen draw width and colors with the Line Type menu. Before the update, we changed pen colors by clicking the type icon in the Layers panel and then clicking Right. Now we change pen colors by clicking the appropriate line in the Layers panel. So this is a draw line here. We make sure the Line Type menu is set to draw, which it is. It's set on draw. And then we click the square to the right of the Line Type menu. This opens a new menu that allows you to change the pen width from fine point to all the way to calligraphy, and all the other Cricut markers are in here as well. And it will only show you the colors that are available for each of these markers. Though you'll notice there's a lot of fine point colors there. You can change the width and you can pick a color. So I'm going to pick raspberry. And you'll note that this box up here changes to the color that I've selected, as does the image representation over here in the Layers panel. So now this J, which is the first letter of the text, has changed to raspberry. And of course, my text itself on the screen has changed to raspberry as well. Okay, now how do you set score lines with the Line Type menu? And this is likely the biggest change for anyone who's coming here to learn how to use my older video tutorials with the new Cricut Design Space. Now, before Cricut Design Space updated, we changed lines to score by clicking the type icon in the Layers panel and then selecting Score. Now we change lines to score by clicking the appropriate line in the Layers panel. We click the Line Type menu near the top of the Cricut Design Space window, and we choose Score from the drop-down menu. The icon in the Line Type menu changes to a white box with a red line through it, which means no color. The image representation over in the Layers panel changes to a dashed line, which you can see right here, and the element on the canvas itself changes to a dashed line. And remember, when we set a score line, we also need to attach it to whatever layer we want to actually score. So if we wanted to score this pink heart here, we want to select both the score line and the pink heart. So I'm holding down the Shift key to select both layers. And you can see both layers are selected over here in the Layers panel. And then I come down and I click Attach. And now, if I go to cut this, it will score on the pink layer, not anywhere else. All right, so this is an overview of the major changes to Cricut Design Space. Now let's look at some specific projects that I have made that I've showed you how to do in the older version of Cricut Design Space, so you can see what to do in the current version of Cricut Design Space. And we're going to start with the butterfly card. So I'm going to go to Upload. We're going to upload the image right from the SVG file, so we're working with an untouched version just like you would. I'm going to click Browse, and we're going to look for that image. Here we go. So I'm uploading my pop-up butterfly card and clicking Save. And I'm going to place it onto the canvas. So I'm clicking it and clicking Insert Images to put it onto my canvas. I'm going to make the screen a little smaller so I can see everything in it. More or less. This is good enough. All right. So the pop-up butterfly card is actually a very easy project. It just has, it looks like it's not, but it actually is quite easy. And there's only one thing that you need to do, and that is set your score line, since I can't do that for you in advance. So your score line is this line right here on the white square, the white rectangle. That is the score line. So I'll make this part bigger so that we can see this better. So all score lines initially come into Cricut Design Space as just a cut line. It's your job to tell Cricut Design Space that you want it to be a score line and then attach it to the layer you want to score. So the way that we modify this file and prepare it for cutting is first we need to ungroup everything in it. So we're just going to ungroup everything, make sure that each layer in our layers panel is on its own, which it is. And then we're going to select the line that we want to change to score. So I just click right on it. And so over here you see it says cut. We want that to say score. So we go right up to our line type menu and change it from cut to score. So that's how we do that. And then, as always, we select both the score line and the layer that we want to actually score. So we have just those two selected. So you make sure you have just those two over in the layers panel, and then you click attach. And then that's it. You're good to go. If you click make it, your Cricut will separate everything out based on the mat size you're using and everything. And we can confirm here that our score line is on our white layer and it does say score and cut. So that's all we have to do for the pop-up butterfly card. All right, so let's look at the maker mat. I'm going to go upload the maker mat. Remember, you download my SVG files over on my blog, which looks like it right here. Okay. So I'm going to put this onto my canvas. And I'm going to make it a little smaller. Not quite that small. Okay, so the main thing that you need to do with the maker mat is to change some of the lines so that they are using the fabric marking pen instead of cutting. So that's the big thing that you have to do. And those are over here on the left. So we're going to, just like with the pop-up butterfly card, we're going to ungroup all of these things. Now you'll notice that there are subgroups within this particular project, right? So you may need to ungroup further. If you ever have issues setting and attaching your score lines or attaching things in general, it probably means that you haven't ungrouped all the way down. And these little arrows here on the left are your indicator that that's a group. Also, it will say ungroup instead of group at the top. So if you can like collapse these things like this into these groups of things, then you know they're grouped and then you would need to ungroup them. So for now, I'm just going to hide the things that we don't need right now so that we can focus on what we do need. And I'm going to ungroup these things here and ungroup these things here. All right, so these lines here that you see on the pieces of fabric, those are the ones that we need to change to be the fabric marking pen. And of course, you don't have to mark it with your fabric marking pen, but if you do, this is how you change it. And if you don't use a fabric marking pen, you need to hide that layer altogether. Now remember, we can hide the layer. We can first select it. There we go, we selected it. We click the eye icon over here in the layers panel to completely hide those lines if we don't want them, if we're not going to use our fabric marking pen. But if we are going to use it, what we want to do is select it in the layers panel, go to the line type menu, choose draw. And then we click on the box to the right here, and we're going to choose marker, and then we're going to choose blue washable fabric marker. And then we also, just like with the score line, need to attach it to the layer that it's going to mark on, right? So we select both of these layers here like this. You can do it the click and drag way I just did it, or you can come over to the layers panel and select them one by one. And then we're going to click attach. And now your fabric marking pen will actually mark the piece of fabric that it needs to. So let's do the same thing over here. So we're going to select this layer. If you need to, you can always get in a little closer so that you can see it better. So I've selected the lines, and the tutorial explains, exactly which lines you need to be changing to the fabric marking pen. We're going to select them, and we can see it selected in the layers panel. We're going to go up to the line type menu, choose draw, click on the box next to it, go to marker, and choose blue washable fabric. There we go. Now we need to make sure that the layers are attached to each other so that they actually, oops, we have an extra one there that we don't want. So let's undetach that. Let's get this out of the way. There we go. So we want these layers here to be attached to the pen. There we go. Now this should be all ready to go at this point. Let's click make it and take a look. So here we have our light fabric. Here we have the maker symbol that I put on there. And here we have one of the panels. And here we have another panel. And you can see that in the case with the fabric marking pen, it's indicated on the side here, the left side. So it says draw and cut. It says the same thing on this one where we also attached the fabric marking pen. And that's it. That's how we do the maker mat. All right, so now let's look at doing the Spellbound Rows. And we're going to go upload the Spellbound Rows SVG file. Okay, so I am uploading the rows. Now, when it uploads, it looks like this, which is exactly what it should look like. I created this file to be very simple to use. All you really have to do is upload it and go. But I'm still going to show you, just in case there's anything that you want to change about it. So we're going to click it and do insert images. All right, so everything is grouped together, right? Now, let's say you wanted to change the color of this. You can easily change it with the line type menu. So right now, the entire thing is selected because it's in one group. So, and you can see this over here because we can select it in our our layers panel. We can click on it to select it. And then we come up here and we can say instead of pink, maybe we want it to be lavender. And then that's it. Now everything is lavender. That's really all you have to do with this particular file. A couple other things that you can do, which are not related to the changes, but I'll show you since I'm in here. You can resize it if you want it to be smaller, like this. You can make it bigger, but you can't go any bigger than 11.5 inches wide to use 12-inch wide paper. I have it set to use 8.5-inch paper. So let me show you. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, set it to pink by using the undo command. And sometimes this trips people up, so let me explain this. So all you really have to do is click make it, and you go right in here. And it can be confusing because it says it needs 12 by 12 paper, right? You see that right here? They all say that. But you don't need 12 by 12 paper. You need 8.5 by 11 paper, because if you look at all of the mats, none of them are wider than 11 inches or longer than 8.5. So that's the key. You put your 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock on your mat in the landscape orientation, and they will all fit. And that's the way that you make a lot of roses using inexpensive cardstock that's 8.5 by 11 instead of expensive 12-inch by 12-inch cardstock. So even though it says 12 by 12, you're not actually using that size. Always look at your mat. Always look where it's actually falling on your mat, because that matters. Now let me show you one of my newer tutorials, because I just made a whole slew of new video tutorials right before the Cricut Design Space update. Let's look at the gift box. So we're going to go and upload the gift box SVG. All right, so here's one of our gift boxes, and it needs to have its score line set. So I'm going to click Save, and we're going to insert this image onto our canvas. Now this is just 2 layers, so it's actually nice and simple. We need to change this cut line here to be a score line, right? So this line here, this layer here is our cut. It's the outline of our box. But this layer here is a bunch of lines. This is our score layer. So we just select it in the Layers panel on the right. We go up to the Line Type menu. We change it from Cut to Score. Now you can see it's changed to a dashed line, right? So it says Score up here at Line Type. It's a dashed line down here. And over here in the Layers panel, it says Score. And again, as always with score lines, you need to attach the score layer to the layer you're going to cut. And so we click Attach. And that's it. It's all ready to go now. And when we click Make It, it will tell us that we're going to score and cut. So that's how we do the gift box. Let's go find another project. The knockout technique is all done in Cricut Design Space, isn't it? So let's look at how we would do that. So to do the knockout technique in the updated version of Cricut Design Space, it's not really that difficult. What you're going to do is you're going to start with your text. So I'm going to do a similar thing to what I did before. So Castaway Key in the beautiful Bahamas. And I'm going to change this line to be Times New Roman bold, because I think that looks nice. Okay, so, and then we're going to click the lock button here to unlock it so I can make it size it a little differently because that's a little bit short. And we want to fix the letter spacing because it's just too far apart, whatever. And I'm going to click on Advanced and do Ungroup to Letters. None of this has changed from my tutorial. This is all the same, but I just drives me nuts the way that these letters just are not in position. And so I need to fix this. Okay, so here's Castaway Key. Let's go ahead and weld this. So it's 1 layer. And over here on the right, we can see Weld Result, and we can see that it says Cut, which is totally fine. So now we need to put our knockout layer in it. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. Cabana Life is the best life. And change that font to the I Love Glitter font, just like I did in my tutorial. And we need to bring the letter space in. And we got to add our little separators. Okay, so Cabana Life is the best life. And our separators, if I can remember. Yeah, so one was like that, I think. One was like this. And then we had some separators in between. I might not be doing this exactly the same way that I did in the tutorial, but it's going to be close enough. Oops. And again, if you need to find out what these special, so this is a bracket that I'm adding in, by the way, as you can see. But if you need to find out what the special characters are, the special glyphs are for the fonts like this, you can always, oops, we have one more. You can use your character map on Windows or font book on the Mac to see all of the characters that are in any font. Why is that one not working? Oh, I see. Because I'm in between the wrong letters. Here we go. So let's make this smaller. Got to make our canvas smaller. So we resize that so it's, I like to do it so it's just a little bit wider than my text or whatever it is that I want to knock out, right? All right, so the next step, let's go ahead and hide this layer. We don't need to see that right now. The next step is to change this line, the line that we're going to knock out, from cut to print so that we can get a print preview. And the way that you do that is to select it over here in your layers panel. We go up to the line type menu and we select print like this. So now it's set to print. And now if we click on make it, and so there is that print, and we're going to click continue, and we're going to click on send to printer, and it's going to give us the print preview, right? So we save this image. We're actually going to save the image, and that's how we're going to get our knockout. So print preview.png. Cancel out of all of this now. And we're going to upload that print preview image that we just made. So I'm going to go to my downloads menu, my downloads directory. There it is. And when it comes in, we select complex. And then we need to get rid of that black box. There we go. And click continue. And we save it as a cut image. All right, and then we're going to insert it. And we have to resize it, of course, so that it matches our text itself. All right, now we can unhide that text. I'm going to change this to white. So to change it to white, we click on it. We go up to the line type menu and we choose the color box and we change it to whatever color we want. So I want white. And then I'm going to click and drag it up on top of Castaway Key. Move this over a little bit. And then I'm going to move my text up and try to fit it. We'll have to use the arrange menu to bring this to the front. All right, so it's about like that. No, it's not fitting quite yet. It's not fitting right quite yet, but getting close, I think. It's close enough, I suppose. Okay, so let's move this off, and we're going to select both of these. And this part, none of this has changed now. So now this is all back to following the tutorial. So we select both of these, and we're going to do slice to take out that middle area, and we're going to delete all this stuff in the middle here, and then we're going to move our line right up into position so it looks, reasonably okay. There we go. Now there's a knockout in our Castaway Key line, and we can change the color of that line. So we select it in our layers panel. We change, and it's on print. Don't forget, you need to change it from print back to no print. So to do that, you select no fill, and it changes back to just cut. Okay. And we can change it to red, which is, I think, what I had in my video. Let's go to make it and we'll see. Yep. So there's our black line and here's our red line. Well, I'm in here. Let me show you a couple other things I noticed that have been updated. So one is in templates. When we click templates and choose one, let's make an apron, and it adds it. I noticed that you can change the color of your apron now. So I didn't see that before. Maybe it was there and I didn't see it. That's possible, but I didn't see it in my old videos. So now you can change the color of your templates, which I think is pretty cool. And you can still always hide and show your templates in the layers panel. That has not changed. The other thing that I've noticed is that you can now see your the materials descriptions have changed a little bit. So if we go and click on Make It and we say Continue, and I'll just select my maker. When we get to the set material stage, it shows us not just the traditional paper sizes, weights, thicknesses, whatever. It also shows us metric as well. For example, medium cardstock, 80 pounds. In the past, it said just 80 pounds, but now it also says 216 GSM. And GSM is the standard that's used, from my experience, in Europe and Asia. Now, and it's true of other things as well. So anytime that there's an alternate weight that someone might be more used to, you will see that. And if you click on Browse All Materials, you can see what I'm talking about. So here's GSM for the cardstock. And I know that there's some more. For the leather, they've added a few leathers. I don't recall these being here. And in addition to ounce, they have added the actual thickness, because that just the ounces of so here in America, in the States, we use the ounces to categorize our thicknesses of leather, which is really, I find, very confusing. But now it's actually telling you how thick in millimeters that leather is, and so you know which one to change. paper, 75 GSM, which is really standard. So the same thing, heavy watercolor paper and everything. So that's really useful. And it's not just useful for, people outside the US. This is actually useful for everybody. And I'm really glad they added that. And those are the changes that I know of that happened in early January 2019. Now, no doubt there will be more changes. Cricut Design Space is an evolving software, and it needs to do this to meet the needs of people. I know that there are plans for other things. I don't know what the plans are. I've just seen people talking. I've seen the CEO of Cricut making mentions about new features that they would like to add, that kind of thing. And I believe that the changes that we're seeing, let me close all of this here so that we can just go back and look at it. The changes that we're seeing with the line type menu at the top here, I believe that these are being put in place to help facilitate future changes. So we can have more new and cool, awesome things. And that is why change really is good, because we need to change to have the new awesomeness be available to us. And we need to roll with the changes and do our best to keep up with them so that we don't get lost and confused. If you do get lost and confused, you're always welcome to come to my Facebook group. Let me just go on over there now and show you my Facebook group. You can get to it by going to jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. And it is an awesome group. People are always so helpful to answer questions. Do you just come in here and you say, hey, this is what's going on? If possible, show us a photo or a screenshot of your Design Space screen, and we will be happy to help you and help figure out what's going on. It's not uncommon to have issues. I have issues all the time. We just work through these. I also will come in here and do live videos when there's something, that's just so much. It's just sometimes it's just easier to see it in a video, right? So I come into this group and I do sort of impromptu live videos when people have questions and that sort of thing. It's a great place. I highly recommend you join. And you can join by going to jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. It's a great way to keep up to date and get answers to your questions and be inspired to make amazing things. So I hope that helps explain how to use the latest version of Cricut Design Space. Now, if you have the Cricut Coach Playbook that I'm the author of, and you want the most up-to-date version of it, just check your email for the link and simply re-download it. You'll always have access to the latest version. If you don't yet have a Cricut Coach Playbook or even know what the heck it is, you can learn all about it over at CricutCoach.com. It's really a great resource when you're using your Cricut, because it takes away all of the guesswork from the common and popular and important tasks that we do in Cricut Design Space on a regular basis. Now, if you have questions at all that this video isn't covering, please feel free to leave a comment. I come through and I answer everything I can. Or you can come join my Facebook group, where you'll find a whole community of crafters just like you who are helping each other out and might even answer faster than me. You'll find us at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. Until next time.